when you put it down, the actual cymbal-smith is running a machine to take the hammer. So it's going to kind of fall in between the two as far as the sound and how it comes out. So we get the lathing. Basically, you're taking the cymbal, you're putting it on a stand or however it's held in place. You can either do it by hand or by machine, and it's basically a metal blade that runs, the cymbal is spun and it runs across it, and you're removing or peeling away that top layer, okay? That surface metal. What it's doing is controlling it as far as the size and thickness of it, or the weight of it. That's making it thinner or lighter. Again, this is for bell bronze cymbals, which are cast cymbals. It's essential in creating the actual shape of the cymbal. For sheet bronze, the lathing is part of more, again, sound development, because that initial process when it's first made, again, the cymbal already has its shape. This can be done on both sides of the cymbals or just one side. With my Extreme series, you'll see, if you come up here, the bell on both of those are raw, both on the underside and on top. It has a lathe top section, which is finished more bright, whereas the edge is darker on both series. The Gospel series are shiny, all around, brilliant on the edge, but have a hand-hammered bell, not as raw though as the Extremes, and it's a higher profile bell than the ones you'll find in those series. Let's see here. Okay, so now we get to the final step, which is again finishing. Cymbals can be allowed to tarnish, okay, which is actually the formation of that oxide layer. So think of it for like back in the day when we had real copper pennies, right? That's what you see a lot of copper pennies. They get darker over time due to your hand oil, and it gets green. You get that greenish patina on it. Well, that's what kind of gives the cymbal more of a mellow sound. I think there's a cymbal company out there that makes what they call an earth ride. I don't know who makes it, but I think they actually take that cymbal and they bury it in the ground, right? And for a few days or however long they do it, and when they take it out, it's got that specific sound. It's very mellow, it's very dry, and that look, which is unique to them. So, as I mentioned, as I kind of briefly touched on it before, the soul tones have like this, what they call it, it's a subtle darkening process. It's called super stroke. It increases the dryness, but also the definition at the same time. And I think they use that for their vintage line. I'm not sure if they use it on the Extremes, though it feels like it, because it does. It's not too bright, but it still has that realistic definition, and it's not, too dark. Brilliant finishes, as in like, the A's from Zildjian, the custom A's. I don't know if they have it here on my, they call it FXO, which is like a trash symbol, which is the one you were talking about, Paul. It's kind of like the ozone, which I love my ozone, by the way, and I actually got that from Matt, because Matt, I always use that thing, and I love that thing.
I love it, yeah.
And I killed it, man, and I was so sad when I broke it. I was like,
send it back another one.
I was heartbroken. Yeah, right. Sure.
Warranty, right? Say the receipt, right?
It's not LL Bean. You can't wear it forever and then send it back.
Which, by the way, that symbol is great because you can use it as like a china or a crash.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah,
I like it, and that's got the same sound, dude. And let me tell you what, I like that way better than a China, because the China's just too harsh, man. Maybe for metal that's cool, but for this stuff, my guitar player flinches when I hit that thing because it just cuts right through. It's really cool, And you can ride it and get a nice wash out of it too. But brilliant finishes can be applied in several different ways. Okay, they can be applied either with an abrasive polish. You can add metal plating to the cymbal, a lacquer, or a combination of all these techniques to prevent that oxide layer that we're talking about from forming. Cymbal anatomy. There are 5 parts to a cymbal. Anybody know what that would be?
Maybe a bell?
Yep, that's one.
Actually, that's...
Anyone want to help them out?
Shoulder.
Okay.
Bow.
Yeah.
Edge. Tail.
What'd you say? The edge?
Edge.
Yep. You guys pretty much got it. They call it a little something different. At least what I was able to research was the bell. You got it? Come and get a sticker, by the way, if you want. its shape of the bell basically affects the size of the whole sound of the cymbal. The second was the surface. Somebody said that area. That produces the majority of the cymbal sound, and obviously it controls its vibration, and obviously again there it's sound. Guy in the back said about the edge. That produces the cymbal's fullest sound, but it's the most delicate part of the cymbal. So I have a little story here because I think it's funny. But anybody know Bobby T? Bobby Torelli? You're good friends with him. All right, and Greg knows him. So I've played several gigs with Bobby, and I've used his kit, and he says those things like straight on, man. And while he even says it himself that you get the fullest sound from the cymbal when you whack it on its edge, which is great, but you're gonna kill that thing. And Bobby's like the god of thunder, man. That dude hits hard, and he takes the stick, and not only does he use thick sticks, the dude doesn't use this, man. He flips it around, and then he uses the butt end of that thing, and that dude's a beast, and he hits hard. So he's hitting the thing straight on. So not only are you going to go through sticks, but you're going to go through cymbals, and he must go through those things like we go through tissues. I mean, I don't know. I've not been around like that long, but I can't imagine that they survive for very long if he's out there touring, doing whatever. So again, while the cymbal edge itself gives it the fullest sound, it is the most delicate part of the cymbal. So, for you young guys, if you want to, when you're playing, if you want to angle the cymbal a little bit that way, and you hit it with a glancing blow as opposed to one of these straight-on shots, you have a better chance of making that cymbal last. The taper of the cymbal is the gradual decrease in thickness from the bell to the edge. Obviously,